Hello Internet and YouTube. I'm making this video basically to help out a friend and I wanted to teach a bit about how to create desktop icons. And I don't just mean icons that go in your desktop, but also icons that go in your main menu and such. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about where those can be found on your system and how to work with them. So basically, I run a product called KDE as my normal desktop in Debian Linux. And so with that, I have this sort of editor tool, and you can get to this by right-clicking on your start menu or your main menu, as it were, in Debian or Linux distros that aren't Windows. The main menu, if you right-click it and you go to, I believe it's called Edit Applications, you should get this little window here that pops up. So this little window allows you to, find, say, a game, for instance, and then you can look at the different information for it in here. So you have the command, which is where that is located on your system, and any kind of extra stuff it needs in order to run. So in this case, it's launching with Steam, and it's giving it the run ID, etc. And you can basically all the games are going to look something like that in general, right? So if they're a Steam game, they're going to have some sort of command like that, but hopefully I can find one that is sort of more manually installed. This is actually an app image, so you can see it's an opt RPC S3, and then you follow the path onto your actual location where your app image is, or whatever the file is that you're going to try to execute. You also have this little advanced tab where you can tell it the work path, which you can largely just ignore for now. And then you can check run in terminal. You largely don't need to do that. I've very rarely ever seen that. Sometimes if you want, you can check run as a different user. So like if you want to run the application as root or as some other user, you could bullet that and then enter the username. And then you can also create a keyboard shortcut, so like Control-Shift-F or whatever to launch your file explorer, that sort of thing. And then you would save it. So that's how you would do it on KDE. Some other desktop managers may have tools like this, and if they do, you can take advantage of them. But in our case, we're going to pretend like we don't. So I just wanted to show you that first so that you can see that, yes, there is an easy way to do it. But if you don't have access to that, then it helps to know where your desktop files are actually located. So in our case, we're actually going to make a file that will appear on the desktop. Now, my personal desktop here, one, is 4 monitors strong, so you're not actually going to see where the icon would even appear, even if I could do that. And I can, but my desktops are set up to hide all icons. But for the sake of argument, I've copied some into this desktop file folder here, so it's in my home directory and then in desktop, so you can see what those icons might look like if they were on my desktop. And if I enabled that functionality, then yes, all these icons would in fact appear on my desktop somewhere. You can see this one here actually has a missing icon. Apparently the icon for it is just gone, or removed, or whatever. I'm not sure. In the Steam client, it's still there, I think. Oh no, that's the weapon editor, that's why. So that doesn't have an official icon with it. So maybe I could use that to show you how to make an official icon. I'm not sure if I want to go into all that depth with it, but basically speaking, you can use these icons. This is an example of what the icons will look like when you get done. So let's take a look at where these desktop files tend to reside on your system. So there's a couple of locations you can look. Now obviously those happen to be in my desktop folder. Okay, so that's in tilde desktop. Tilde being a shortcut for your home directory, the logged in user's home directory. So now you can see a list of all of those files that I just showed you in this folder here, right? So that is the same location as this right here. Okay, so you can see all the files. Now, if I wanted to look at those files, I could do, for instance, Vi or Vim or Nano or whatever text editor. If you're really, really new, you should probably stick with Nano, as it's much easier. Or you can edit it with a graphical tool if you like and can do that sort of thing. I'm going to use Vi because it's what I like. But feel free to use whatever makes you comfortable. So we can look at, I don't know, let's say Guild Wars .desktop, right? So Guild Wars. Oh, I'm not actually in the directory. Derp. All right, desktop. There we go. All right, Vi, and then Guild Wars. There we go. Okay. So this is what a desktop file would generally look like. So here you have your desktop entry, which is always going to be at the top of the file. You've got an encoding, which is basically always going to be UTF-8. I've never seen a case where it wasn't. But, you know, keep in mind that's a thing. I think you may even be able to get rid of that line entirely, and it will just assume it's UTF-8, but I leave it in there just to be safe. You put the name, so that's the name as it will appear in the menu. And then a comment. You can technically leave that out if you want. It doesn't matter. Type should generally be application. Your exec is a path to the executable and any execution switches and or arguments that you need to give it. So basically, in this case, I'm really executing something called play on Linux, and I'm telling it to run the Guild Wars app. And so basically, that is allowing me to run Guild Wars, which is normally a game that only runs on Windows, from within Linux. Or in this case, specifically Debian. And then you have an icon, and this is very obviously a path to my icon folder for where this icon is actually located at. And you're actually going to see a little bit of blurring here because this path has something in there I don't want the greater internet to see. But it's basically just my home directory and then this .play on Linux icons. It's just a path to the icon. It could be anywhere on the system. And then this is actually if you had a different language name for your game. So like if your game had a different name in like French, and this actually is specifically French. And I don't speak French. This is just there as an example. So if you wanted to put alternative names in there, if you switched your desktop to another language, it would display the alternate name. And then this is the startup window manager class. This basically gives it a class name. You can leave that off technically. And then categories is where you would put like games or whatever. So if you had it in a menu, you could put it in the games or whatever. That's how it sorts it into its various spots in the menu, essentially. So you would put games or applications or whatever you wanted it to be in. You know, media, I think, is one of them. Actually, hang on, I can give you a good list here. So you have development, education, games, graphics, internet, multimedia, office, science and math, settings, system, stuff like that, right? Those are all the various categories. So with that filled in, it will automatically put that into the category. Now, obviously, in this case, this is a desktop icon, so you don't need a category here because it's just in this desktop folder. So that's how you would put a desktop icon on your desktop. Is you would put it in this desktop folder, and then you would use a desktop environment that is capable of displaying desktop icons such as XFCE or KDE with the feature turned on. But mine again is off, so I can't actually show you the icon on my desktop, and I'm not going to turn it on because I don't want to. So I guess I'm stubborn like that. I don't know. But anyway. So if you wanted to make a custom one, basically you would just copy this. So do like CP and then Guild Wars and then Guild Wars and maybe 2 if you wanted to do that. And then you would, once you had that, you would go in and you would edit Guild Wars 2.desktop and manipulate it to how you wanted it to be. And then that would simply make your new desktop icon for you. So the other thing you can do is if you look in user, local, and then, not local, sorry, share, and then applications. This is where your system icons are. So all your applications that are installed on your computer generally will have a .desktop icon in here, and that's why they will appear in your main menu. So if you have an application that is not appearing correctly in your main menu, check to see if it's got a .desktop icon here. This is one of 2 places you'll need to look, but this is the global one. So any icon in here, any .desktop file in this location is going to appear in every user's menu regardless of who they are. They just log into the system, they're going to get these icons in their menu. That's the way it works, right? So if you want an icon to be specific to a user, then that's going to be in their home directory. And you're going to look in cd /.local share and then desktop, or not desktop, sorry, applications. And then in there, you'll see that I have even more desktop icons. And so in here, these are icons that will only appear in my main menu and nobody else's. So if somebody else came onto my computer and created an account, they're not going to see these icons. And again, to make one of your own, you would simply customize the icon of some other application. So like Firefox, for instance, I could customize that one by cloning it and then making a new one off of the clone, customizing that clone to my liking, changing the name of it, and then simply either leaving it in wherever it is. If I want it to appear in the menu, for instance, I would leave it in here. If I want it to appear globally on everybody's desktops, I would put it in the user local applications under the root directory, like I showed you before. And if I wanted it to appear on a user's home directory or in a user's desktop, you would put it in their desktop folder in their user's profile. So you would basically put it in this folder here, and it will appear on the user's desktop, provided their desktop environment is set up to display desktop icons, because that can be a thing where that's not, you don't have icons available on your desktop. In KDE, now I'm not going to obviously be able to show you this for every single one of them, but under KDE, you can, I think you change the layout, but I got to unlock it to do it. So you would do unlock widgets, I think, and then in here you can change the layout to folder view. And if you change the layout to folder view and apply it, you'll get your desktop icons. So that'll show you how to kind of do that in KDE if you want. Now again, your mileage may vary on other desktops, but that's how you would do it in KDE. So that's it. That's the end of the tutorial. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you found it informative, and it gives you some advice on how to work with desktop icons on your computer. It's really not that hard. Like I said, the best bet is really just to find one and then that's close to what you want and copy it, and then take that copy and modify it to what you want it to be, and then just place it where you need it to go, and you're good to go. That's it. All there is to it. All right, thank you for watching.